Hello, hello, hello. I hope you guys can actually hear me tonight. The little thing is not showing up with any sound. Okay, let me actually test this on my phone. Maybe it's working and it just feels like it's not. Hopefully it doesn't give any feedback. All right, it is working. All right, I'm gonna pause that so that it doesn't actually pick it up anymore. Weird, because so normally there's little sound dots across the bottom, and that tells me that whatever. Doesn't matter, it's working. I wonder if it was working the other night then too, and it's just been a soft. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, so tonight we're working on getting the rest of the. Oops, sorry, that was a little bit violent. Harsher than I intended. We're getting the rest of the pattern pieces prepped for Glenda bags. I'm just trimming up the fusible interfacing that I fused onto the pieces earlier today. I did that off camera because kiddos were home today, with it being Sunday. And doing a live with toddlers my age just is not going to fly. I don't want them on camera, and I need to be able to drop everything at a moment's notice. One of my husband's aunts was actually saying she used to run a pottery business, and when her kids were about the age that mine are right now, she actually had to stop because she would wedge the clay, get everything ready, and then someone would need something, which is actually a massive benefit to the fabric. Is like it's not going anywhere, except for when I forget about it. Which, if you've been watching the stream recently, it's like, I swear, my little chaos creators have left me with maybe 3 brain cells, but they get shared between me and the cats typically. So I guess I should share on Instagram that this is actually working today. That's super annoying that I can't tell if the mic is actually working or not. But oh well. Anyway, so what I did is I just basically did a rough interfacing on these guys, and then I trimmed it down because it's just easier rather than trying to match it up when it's actually like getting fused. All right, let's get this posted that we're here. Just on my phone to let everyone know. Just want to share my link and we'll go share, copy. Oh my goodness. Today has been actually a very good, but a very long day. And the easiest bedtimes I've had recently because my, I don't know, it must be summer. I used to be like this as a kid. Like, it's that if the sky's awake, I'm awake sort of thing. But they've been really hard to put to sleep, like down for their bedtime this week. And it's just like gotten later and later and later. I think my youngest is nearly ready to drop their nap. But we went out and we played in the playground early this morning, which was, well, not early, early afternoon. Because it was a scorcher here in the Calgary area. And so I got together with a friend. We went and had ice cream, and then we went to the playground. And then they actually napped on the way home, which was awesome. And then what else did we do? Oh, and then we came in and we watched some TV. And then it was time to actually head out. My niece is heading out on exchange tomorrow. And so we had like a farewell dinner with her, and she's on a plane, which is super exciting to see her do this. So I hope she has a fantastic exchange. Yeah, and it was a busy day, so a little bit tired. When am I not though right now? So that's okay. And figured I may as well sit down and record this while I'm working on it, since I'm doing the work anyway. Don't have a lot of stories to tell right now, just because I've kind of run through the majority of them. I did just finish listening to the I just realized, did I actually get all of that cut out earlier? Or do I still have? Oh man, I don't have the divided. So I've got the interiors cut, but I don't have the divided pockets cut for most of these. Okay, so I'll go grab those pattern pieces in a second, and then we'll cut them here on this table. That's fine. I changed up how I did this. So these pieces I interfaced after I cut them, but the problem is I'm working with obi and kimono, and the obi has been very drapey. So like it's warped out of shape very rapidly. So what I did with the next set for actually making the linings and like zipper pockets out of is I interfaced the obi before I cut it. And so it's made it sturdier and actually easier to cut, instead of it like being all slinky and sliding all over the place. It's hard enough getting onto the steam press to actually get it fused. It was ridiculous today. Anyway, yeah, so right now I'm prepping for Omatsuri, which is a Japanese festival in Calgary. And the event is August 11th and 12th, but I'll be vending on August 12th. We'll be at the Max Bell Center. It is, I haven't checked. I think they might have tickets at the door, but their pre-sales are open as well, which always help with like numbers, just so they know what to expect. Friday night is a vendors and Japanese comedy and drag, which I think is super cool. It's new this year. And then Saturday is a bunch of other festival events, which if you check out their website, that's the best way to find out what's happening and when it's happening. That'll have a schedule of events as well. So I didn't think I was actually going to be doing it this year, but then I got an invite, so I'm very honored that I actually got invited to this event. And I'm super excited to be there. So it's been years since I've actually gone to it myself. It falls on a weekend where it's just been, well, obviously there's been other reasons for it. It's been falling on a weekend where we've had a friend's birthday party and stuff like that as well. So it happens. But I'll be there this year. It's nice because I'll be able to actually go set up the booth. Since it's a Calgary event, I'll be able to go set up the booth while the kids are in childcare, or at least the majority of it. And then I can do any like finishing touches on the Saturday just before the event opens. And I've got a new card reader coming from Shopify. Shopify is my website and e-commerce provider. But my last card reader is actually like on the fritz, and I found out that they're actually sunsetting the card reader that I've been using for the past few years. So I ordered the new one. It should be here in time for that event, so that'll be fun to play with. Yeah, that'll be good. And if nothing else, that's at least, hi Flynn. It's a good test run for like the for Knit City to make sure that everything's working for them as well, because that is I expect that. I think Omatsuri will be a fairly large event for me, but Knit City is always like my biggest event of the year, so I am excited for that one. Flynn is feeling much better, obviously. Just over 2 weeks ago now, about 2.5 weeks ago, he got into some of my diabetic medication, ended up at the emergency vet for like 3 nights. And yeah, that was not a fun time. But he is feeling right as rain right now, obviously, as he came in and barged into our stream here. All right, so there's the interiors slimmed down from the interfacing. Probably should do that for the exteriors as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab the pattern pieces for the zipper pouches, which I realize I don't have here for 2 of these bags. So I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to zip these pieces. So these pieces have to be sewn together still. And then, hi buddy, how are you? I can't remember how many I actually had on for Target for making for Matsuri, but this will be 3 of these ones. I've got wedge bags cut, and I've got about 4 of the necessary clutch wallets cut as well. So I'll be working on that all over the next few days. It'll be good. Hey, buddy. You've got like a little dry skin patch on the back of your back. It's gotta be itchy, hey? So that must be where they actually put in a lot of fluids and stuff like that. There you go, Ben. Squishy sketch. All right. So got all the D-ring connectors here. Actually, we could also put those through, but yeah. So this is another one where I did a rough cut around for the interfacing, and so I'm going to just cut the interfacing down because that'll make it easier to see the stitch lines. Working through getting everything just shaved down and ready to sew. This is a really gorgeous obi. It's going to be an absolutely spectacular purse. So I'm excited for it. I don't normally do this, but in this case, I've sewn this purse before. Look at how gorgeous that one's coming out. That is not, there are so many more colors in this than showing up on that film right now, or the video right now. Anyway, I've sewn this purse before, and yes, having the seam lines very visible is extremely helpful. Not like that's not helpful for all sewing, but in this case in particular, I think it's very useful. Okay, I'm going to slightly off cut, so that just clean that up a little bit. So yeah, so Omatsuri is in 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. And then Knit City is September 22nd to 24th, 2023, with the marketplace being the 23rd and 24th. And words. And then I'm trying to line up some more events in November as well. But I'm waiting for applications to open up so I can be juried in, hopefully. And then after that, well, hopefully in between Knit City and that, I'll have a couple as well. I'm in the minds of a couple people to be able to vend for them, which is awesome. So I'm excited for this fall season. Once I get over this prep hump, because that's the one thing is it's I have depleted my stuff. No, don't cut that bit. Oh crap. I might actually have to redo that because I ended up cutting the actual obi. Yeah, and there's no way to fix that. I could go in and I could trim down the actual stabilizer in here. Okay, that is getting put aside. Time out for that one, and I will figure out what I want to do for that later. That's the sort of thing which usually indicates that tonight may or may not go well. But the problem, so it's silver on this white, and so I cut into it because it looked very similar, and obviously chatting, I'm not paying as much attention as I probably should. Oh well. I can remake, I think I can remake that. I'm pretty sure I've got more of the silver left over, so. Okay, so those are done. This one needs to be trimmed down. I'm very pleased with how this one's lining up so far. I hope I'm able to sew it so that it matches up. It's got these very vertical lines in it. Seeing that magnetic snap tells me I probably should get some magnetic snaps that are a little bit different colors. Okay, we're not going to cut the top of that yet. Just there. Trim, trim, trim. Trim across. Now, could I do this with a rotary cutter? 100% I could do it with a rotary cutter. Am I going to? No. The scissors are actually just as efficient in this case for me. Maybe even more efficient because like there's a little bit of curve. I just, what I had on hand. I do have a rotary cutter here, but yeah, seriously, it's fine. Okay, this I am going to trim that down a little bit. So these obi are secondhand. The kimono that I'm using to line them today are as well. And where I purchased them at temple markets in Kyoto. We would probably know it as a flea market, but temple market just makes more sense to me. It doesn't have quite the same vibe either. And I have been going to like the one market since I was on exchange for university. So it's just kind of tradition. Flynn, you gotta get out, hon. I need everything that's underneath you right now. All right, so I need the purse bodies, and then I need the linings. So I need to get the zipper pouches cut. Okay, now you can go back. I know, buddy. Oh, scratch, 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 scratch. I know. You are almost 6, which is unbelievable. Okay. Turn this one down. And then once I get those interior cuts done, we can actually go into the sewing, which I am excited for. Because once all of this prep work is done, this purse doesn't actually take that long to sew together. It's just, there is a lot of prep work, guys. I was just chatting with someone on Instagram about that because she's cutting out apparel patterns right now. And I'm like, yep. And then you do it 6 times for bags. One for each side, then the lining, and then the interfacing. But it feels like every single like craft has some sort of time you have to put in towards the prep. Craft, business, hobby, all of them, doesn't matter. So weaving, it's like threading those heddles. Knitting, it's like swatching and prepping the yarn. Yeah, and sewing, it is this. It's all the stuff that is before sewing. I swear, this bag is super easy to put together once you actually get all this done. Go. All right, so that second gray is actually intended for this purse. I wonder if I have something. Yeah, so I'll set that aside, or I'll finish it as much as I can. It's basically, I just can't do the lining, but I can cut everything else, and then I'll cut the lining tomorrow. And having to get up and shift everything around, and also turn the live off. So, or I wouldn't have to turn live off. I don't feel like moving my laptop right now. Okay, so we'll do all the other work that we can. This is intended to go in that leaf. And then this one it's like a rainbow dot swirls. This is intended to go in that. I don't know. It looks like sedimentary or like some sort of mineral formation. I'm going to go with mineral formations. So that's what that one's supposed to go in. So, all right. I need 4 of that and 2 of those. Ooh, I hope I interfaced enough. I kind of made best guess, but oh, sorry. I just need zipper divider. Okay, so I just need 4. I'm only supposed to have 2 interfacings of this, though. I interfaced the other one. So we're just going to ignore that. Okay. Oh, right. You're not the pieces that I need. Okay. These aren't the pieces I need. I need the skinnier pieces that cut better. Okay. Apparently I brought them out, but I don't see them here. This is unless the kids stole them. Camera's working today. All right, well, we can still cut them out from what I have here. Okay, whatever. I'm really annoyed that I cut that flap too short. Oh, really? Yeah, I can't really do work on that then because it's like the flap. Although I guess it can do a little bit. All right, let's see. So I want to get as much of this pattern into one of these zipper pouches as I can. Obviously, it's scattered. It'd probably be better to do it from up here. Yeah. So I can do 1, 2. So I'm going to fold this in half here, like that. Line it up, more or less. 1, 2, and then we can do actually, we should maybe do it this way so we could do it like on the fold this direction and get like the majority of that on there. Could get all of that on there on the one side. Okay. And then we could do the majority of like this patch right here would look really good, or we could get this one up here. Or I could just not worry about it and not waste the fabric. I do really like this motif. So let's do the fold from here basically. And then I won't end up with the full motif, but I'll end up with most of it. And that won't be too wasteful, or won't be wasteful. All right. Let's see. You go like this. And then we're going to fold you under. And then I need to do 4 anyway. So what we'll do is after this is I'll just copy all of them across basically. There we go. There is something happening tonight. The fire truck went up a few minutes ago, just before as I was coming downstairs, and now 2 cop cars went the opposite, went south instead of north. So I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. All right, so there is 1 zipper pouch. Zipper divider is what they call it actually in the pattern. And then scooch that up, and we're good. The fabric's still there. It's just that it got squished when I put it on the interfacing. So we're just going to squish it back up so it's straight again. I'm also using obviously the interfacing is there to stabilize, but that'll be sewn into the zipper. I'll still have the interfacing behind it to stabilize it. The main thing that I'm using the fusible interfacing for with these is so that everything doesn't slip slide everywhere. All right, so I need 4 more of those. So we did 1 from there. Let's do 1 from here. So let's trim down this interfacing so that I've got the straight cut line on the top there. As straight as we're going to get with that little bit of a sheen. There we go. All right, so there's the next one. It does have a little bit of a slant, which is really annoying that it's not just like straight cuts, which would be easier, but whatever. It's fine. We'll make it work. So this is actually one of the body panels. The piece that I was looking for is actually the collar that wraps up and around the neck, and it's a better width for for actually cutting these pieces instead of having to take a full back piece. But I've already cut the main lining fabric from the kimono that I had earlier, so that's what these pieces up here are, which you can't see because this is tilted. But the main panel's already been cut out of one of these, and I still have about 8. So I'm not too worried about running out of kimono, even if I do mess up any of the cuts. I am a little bit concerned about that gray obi, but I'm pretty sure I've got enough still in the cutting room. I'll have to go actually cut that tomorrow just so it doesn't end up sitting in timeout for months and maybe even years. Okay, so there is that one zipper panel done. Now we've got 2 more. Now can I get 2 more out of this? It looks like I probably can. I put one. Ooh boy. Not without one being crooked. Okay, so the next question is do I do it out of this or do I do it out of like a fancy cotton? Because that would be acceptable as well. I've got a nice cotton right here actually. Or I could do all upcycled obi and kimono. I feel like I should do it all from the kimono just to be ultra nice. I just feel like I back up again. Okay, one moment. Let me have a better look to see if I actually do have those collar pieces hanging around, and I'm going to take this piece that I messed up back in as well. All right, so the thing is about this is that I know I even interfaced it because I cut. What did I cut out of it? I cut something out of it. It's like a half width. I wonder if the kids like. I swear, some days I am definitely losing my mind. But I know I interfaced it. I just don't know where I put it. Okay, well, the good news is that I still have other pieces of it cut, actually. So we'll just use them, I guess. So this is it without interfacing. It's nice and swoopy. So what I'll do is that this will actually go on the interior of the zipper divider. This will be the exterior, and it will give it more body. So that's so annoying though, because I know I specifically interfaced those pieces to use for this. So where the heck did they go? Apparently it's just that kind of day. I can tell also. So the problem is that this is really sleek and slinky, so it moves a lot. So we'll see. Watch me struggle with this tonight. So annoying. Okay. No, I'm not going to be quite as picky with this placement though, because so this will be the exterior. Will be the ones with the actual bigger patches on it. If I'd known that, I would have actually cut that second piece a little bit different, but now I don't have enough, so it's okay. There. All right. I'm happy with that. Cut down. I'm going to leave a little bit extra around the top and bottom, just because it does like to shrink up and down and warp those directions. And realistically, it's going to get sewn into this, so it should be all good. All right, so there's one cut. And then we're going to do the second cut from, oh, hello. One tiny thread. There. And maybe we'll do the second cut from right here. Or no, we're going to do the second cut from this section down here that doesn't have any patterning. And then I'm going to save this patterning hopefully for another wallet or like bag of some description. All right, so let's pop this on here. All right, so I'm going to leave a little bit extra on the top and bottom just for my own sake. There we go. So the lining purses and wallets, well, lining purses with kimono idea actually came when I did my trip in November, and I was at a different temple market than I normally do or I've ever done. I don't think I've ever been up to this one. It's one on the 25th. It's at Kitano Tenmangu, and I like looking at bags. I'm a bag maker, so I always look at bags. And one woman there actually was lining her bags with kimono, and I'm like, that is absolutely ingenious. So I can't take full credit for this. This was inspired by another maker in Japan of her lining her purses with kimono. There are a couple drawbacks for me with the kimono. They are extremely heavy. So there's a lot of fabric in a kimono. Basically, it's a lot of very straight panels. There's a little bit of angling on the front for the actual collar, but it's all cut in straight lines. There are no curves on it, really. Yeah, because when I was cutting this stuff out, there wasn't any curves around the sleeves even or anything like that. So, but it's ingenious. I'm like, I may as well do it because I'm working with the OB already anyway. That just adds that next step of like a really cool kind of addition as well. This one looks like I might actually be able to get 4 out of it. So why couldn't I get 4 out of the other one? Because I fussy cut it. Curses. Oh, if I hadn't. But didn't have that pretty pattern, we probably would have had enough of the interface stuff. Oh well. Okay. So instead of always having to do this on the fold, I'm just going to take the pieces I've already cut and I'll cut the next pieces out. Find it typically a little bit more efficient. Again, this is actually probably the slowest part of any bag making project is all this prep work. That's why not a lot of my bags typically have pockets. A lot of extra work to cut and then to also sew into them as well. Not that I don't like pockets, just I don't like making them sometimes. I always say that the kato are going to be like super fast because like when you're making like 1 or 2 for the prototype, they're always fast. But when you sit down to actually make them in production, it's nuts how long it can take actually. All right, so in this case, can I actually get... No, I think I'll just line it with the interior of the zipper pocket is not supposed to be interfaced because it can add too much body to the bag and make it too stiff. So I think we'll stick to the uninterfaced on these ones. The other one is going to remain interfaced. I have 3 bags that I'm making right now. The other one will remain interfaced because it's already cut out, and I don't feel like redoing that cut when I don't need to. Although I guess I could just pull the interfacing off of the 2 pieces that are going to go into the interior. That's okay. It'll be an experiment. Maybe I'll like it better with like all the pieces interfaced because it's not like the kimono fabric is super heavy. It's actually very light. That's part of why we're interfacing it. All that jazz. So these are the Swoon Glenda convertible clutch. I've made them in the past with cottons. I really like the pattern. It's just I never really got into the production mode for the purses. And so now we're trying to get a little bit more production uptick as I can, sort of thing. So I'm going to try and actually get at least one of these purses done tonight, in part because I need to move on to different things with the kids in daycare tomorrow. All right. Now we'll take the uninterfaced. Now, this kimono actually did have some spotting and obvious wear marks on it, but this is not the section that had that on it, so I'm not worried about it. Just want to make sure that I wasn't ending up with like a giant stain right in the middle of the actual fabric. It is really hard. Actually, this one, you can tell it was extremely well loved, or at least worn a few times, because like this is actually the bottom edge of it, and there's a little bit of a dust line on the bottom. That's really cool. That will not end up in the pocket. But yeah, we'll cut it about there then. What was I going to say? Because they're all secondhand, you never know. They're like they've gotten worn. Some of them. This one with the pattern, the white, red, and patterned one, I don't think it actually got worn because I'm pretty sure when I pulled it apart, it still had its tacking stitches in the sleeves, or when I was looking at it. So you never know what you're going to get at the temple markets. Brand new, antique. Most of it, I think, is probably stuff like estate sales or people like kimono. I don't think are necessarily as subject to fashion trends, but there's definitely like different styles and patterns and all of that. So like people just move them on. There we go. I have a really cool one. And so when Caroline and I went for our trip in May, we actually did go do a kimono dyeing workshop, which was so good. But I was looking at it, and there's one kimono that I'm still extremely happy I purchased when I was there as a student. Got it for 500 yen. And at that time, and at this time, that's about $5 Canadian. So probably about $3 American, which is insane. And all that needed to be done is I had to tack a sleeve back on the body. Whatever sort of thing, right? Like just hand sewed it back on. Went and got thread, went and got needles, hand sewed it back on. Is it amazing? No. Did it work? Yes. And I got a $5 kimono. Anyway, but this brings me to like, you don't know what you're going to find at the flea markets because we did this kimono dyeing workshop in Kyoto in May. And I was watching, or not dyeing, painting. It's called Kyoyuzen. Kyoyu. Yeah, Yuzen. I want to make sure I actually spell it right. So Kyoyuzen, Kyoyuzen. And it's silk painting. You paint the kimono. And so I came home and I looked at this kimono that I bought for like $5. And I'm pretty sure it's this technique. Because there's two like main techniques, at least in the Kyoto area, for producing these kimono. One is printing, basically screen printing, and one is this painting. And looking at like how the dyes have bled on the kimono that I got, I'm pretty sure it was that Kyoyuzen. So that's super cool. Unfortunately, I did wear it in April, and my body shape has changed enough postpartum that I don't think I can wear it anymore. So it'll get stored away for now, and I've got a lot of kimono from my exchange that I don't know what to do with yet, and they might just get absorbed into the business because a few of them I never even wore, so I don't really have any sentimental value attached to them. So that one that I just told the story about obviously I will not be doing that with it. And then there's like a couple obi that I used that will never get cut up into the business, but some of the others might get absorbed because I'm just kind of like, I've got this whole Rubbermaid container of like obi and kimono, and I'm just like, I never actually wear them because where do you wear them in Canada typically in my day-to-day life? And they're really hard to get myself dressed in, or else I would wear them in markets, but they're also kind of impractical, especially if you're setting up and taking down for a one-day market. It doesn't work very well. All right, so this one is getting set aside because I was trimming interfacing earlier, and I actually cut the back of the flap that I want to use for this one. So it's getting set aside. That's the flap that I took back into the back room because I was like, no. Okay, so those are side panels. Interior side panels, exterior side panels. interior and exterior for the, so these are going to be going in that mineral bag. I'm calling it mineral because to me it looks like sedimentary rocks. Okay, and then that's the lining pieces for that one. And then this is the pouch and the lining for the fans. Okay. There's the back of the flap for this silver one. This is the fans. Very nice. It's got that very vertical print on it, and I'm super proud so far because I've matched it all up. This is the one that the gray that's going to get this patterned obi in it, or kimono in it. So it's going to be these in there. That is not the right direction for anything, but you get the idea, hopefully. That's the one that I need to redo the flap back on. And then these are the pieces for this. Okay. So this is what I mean by the very verticality of it. So this yes, so far it is matching. So this flap will be just a continuation of this body of this bag. So far so good. So fingers crossed, like I said, that I can keep my skill levels up for it. All right, we need a chair for you guys. Actually, no, I'm going to put you on the sewing table, in part because I also need the instructions for these because it's been a while since I've sewn them. We need these for the D-rings, and then I need... Okay, so now I do know that I for sure had the D-ring tabs for this one in the red to match the lining fabric. So where did they go to? They're kind of important and integral to this whole bag because they're the strap holders. I need to get little bits, all these little pieces, and collect them all and cut them all, and they're so meticulous. And then I swear either a kid or a cat steals half of the stuff, by the way. All right. I think for the Lee's bag, I'm going to do the antique bronze. I'm just doing this while I see it. I can see it right there. Yeah, that'll look good, I think. So that's going to be, that's that. This is the antique bronze hardware. Look really good. It's actually got kind of a silver sheen to it in the background. So with the gray on this bag, it'll look really good. And I think with the actual D-ring tabs, it'll look really good too. So we may as well do these while I'm thinking about it, and we'll clip them. Yeah, that looks good. That is definitely not showing up on camera very well, but you know, that's what you get. All right. Clips. I love using clips. I was a pin girl for years and years and years and years and years. And then I started using clips last year because I was tired of bleeding. That's actually what happened. I got tired of poking myself with the freaking pins that get jammed into your fingers sometimes. There are a few exceptions. There are a few things that I still have to use pins for, but not much. For this sort of thing, clips are perfect. Turn the interfacing off there. Now, these are very generous D-ring tabs. I'm going to be sewing at probably about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Realistically, I might want to probably sew these at about 1 inch. So I'm pretty sure the Wonder clips are a 1/2 inch. They're like 3/8 of an inch. So I seam allowance, I'll turn it so you can actually see the clip. So this is 3/8 of an inch right there. This is about a 1/2 inch right here. So I'm pretty sure with the actual D-ring tabs, I'll probably put it in about 3/8 of an inch, and then I'll sew it about here, just so the D-ring isn't too floppy in the actual D-ring tab, because that will help maintain better integrity to the D-ring tab and less wear. So I'm going to just put the clips there so that I know that that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing with them. And then I was going to use gold for that mineral bag. And actually, I think we should use gold maybe for the fan bag as well because of the... Actually, no, I've got gunmetal right here, which I think might be better. We'll use like a black D-ring with black Yeah, the black and red. That'll look really good. Okay. Hardware. Where the heck? Okay. Now I've also misplaced a D-ring as well. Well, apparently half the stream is going to be Katie going, where is everything? Where did it go? It was here when I was working earlier. I just left to go for a drink with my niece before she heads out on exchange. And everything disappeared. All right. Well, I have one bag at least. Yeah. Some days, guys. All right. Pop that over there. That's all the pieces there for that bag too, except for the back of the flap because I messed up cutting. Darn it. What the heck? Okay, I'm going to put the D-rings back in the D-ring bag. I don't know why that sounded terrible, but it did. And then I'm going to swap one purse for the other since I need to find the D-ring tabs for this. Oh, well, if I have to cut more D-ring tabs, I definitely have more of that fabric as well. It's just, I hate losing the time and effort of it. Okay. Hi, we're just rotating over towards my sewing desk. And I'm having a look under like, oh, there's a piece, but it's not, doesn't have any interfacing curses. Okay, that's not gonna work. All right. The cats must have knocked it down somewhere and I don't know where they would have put it. All right, so part of this is that I actually do need the instructions for actually doing the sewing of this. Since it's been a few years. Yeah, either the kids or the cats got everything, so who knows? I don't know. We also are going to need a zipper for the zipper tab thing. This is the interior, this is the exterior. Those are the side panels. Okay, so the interior needs to be sewn together. So we'll do that first. And I need this. So I'm going to just make you guys smaller. I can still see the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. When I'm doing lives, I always do chat replay. So if you're watching them later, I'm pretty sure you can actually see the chat. That is not the pattern. That is the wallet. That's not what we're working on tonight. Okay. And then these are all going to have leather straps. The pattern actually does call for you to make the bag out of, sorry, just going to read right here. Main panel seam allowance. Then you sew the lining main panels together and leave an opening. All right. Anyway, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, the live chat should replay. So if you ever have questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer as I'm like looking up. Obviously, I can't really answer much while I'm actually sewing, but we'll chatter through it. The mic never picked this up too much, apparently. I don't know how it's going to change since I'm running it through the webcam mic, but if it interferes too much, let me know, and I will just not talk while I'm sewing. But that's about right. There we go. Oh yeah. So I've worked with the kimono before for some like wedge bags and stuff like that, and this is gorgeous. Now this is going to run a different direction from the pockets I just realized, and the other small pieces. You won't notice that one much, but you will notice that the pockets will run different. But that'll help them actually stand out against the fabric so that you can see them. But anyway, that's going to be the lining for that silver bag with the leaves, which is super exciting. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to press the seams open, and I do have yes, I do have my seam roller here. If I can get my container open. If you get takeout, the Canadian Brew House especially, their in Canada. Obviously, I'm in Canada. We have a Canadian brew house in Cochrane. Their actual like takeout containers through Skip the Dishes, or I think if you order from them, they're the same, are amazing for like sewing supplies like that. I also just realized I need to get a little like label for this as well. So the seam roller, you open up your seams like this. I'll turn the camera down a little bit so you can see the desk better while I'm doing this. And then what you do is you can just roll the seam. And because, oh, it's making a liar out of me. It's probably because there's so much soft stuff under it. Anyway, what it should do, and what it has done in the past for me with the interfacing, is it will actually press your seams back. Basically, it's a fancy finger press. Could I finger press it? Yes. Am I going to? No, I want to use my seam roller. There. So it does help it open up a little bit. I could go press it, but I'm not going to right now. Anyway, that is the interior. I really like how that looks already. So that's the main panels done. And then they want me to do, I already did the magnetic snap placements. Now we need to pin a lining flap and exterior flap right sides together. Yeah, okay. And then sew it together around the stabilizer. All right. If I wonder where my main panels are, they are on the desk behind me. I shouldn't. I'm probably not going to get that far tonight, but you never know, apparently. Apparently today is one of those days. Okay. And all the other pieces for this one are on the desk behind me, except for the main body. Okay. Right sides together. I do know my right sides from my wrong sides for these typically. This has definitely got a larger than 1/2 inch seam allowance. All right. I'm here for it. It helps. Okay, I'll line it up on the bottom there like that. The lining is a little bit larger than the body. So I'm going to clip this. Just so I don't, a few clips, not many. Just so it hopefully doesn't slip everywhere as I do actually get it sewn. And then when we're done sewing it, I am going to go through and I'll pinking shear the bottom edge of this as well, just so it, excuse me, so the curve actually turns out nicely. I think actually after this, we're supposed to top stitch this as well. So I put those clips on backwards, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. Okay. So this is very similar to a lot of what I've been working with recently in that realistically I could just sew around the stabilizer. In this case though, with the actual like obi, I want to fussy cut it a little bit more, so I do cut them out. More than like if you were watching the May glasses case making, I think I just basically cut 2 squares of, well, 3, I guess. I cut 3 squares. I cut an interior, an exterior, and a interfacing. And that's what we have. Put a little bit back stitch on the corner. Need to go 1 more stitch. 2 more stitches. Come on. There we go. Okay. And I'll turn this. Okay. Now I'm going to do a gentle peek in and see how that turned out. Just to make sure that like I didn't leave too many floppy edges. I think actually we'll do a full turnout and then I'll turn it back up to do the trimming. Well, that sounds dumb. A couple seams that probably could be tightened up, but I don't want it too tight either, simply because that means that you end up seeing the stitches. There we go. That'll help a little bit just to snug up the edge on the bottom. And then I'm going to pull in. There we go. I will be much happier with that this way. There we go. Better. And 2 lines of stitching is never a bad thing on a purse anyway. I'm going to do the same down this side. Just tighten up a little wobble that happened. And trim it down. So we're going to take the pinking shears to this curved edge because that will help ease, like it lets the fabric stretch, I think is what happens. It helps the fabric ease into the curve a bit better. This is not a very harsh curve. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't hurt. And then I'm going to trim down the sides because that will make it a little bit just straighter. That's all. Like that. Less fabric in there, the less bulk around the seams, the tidier it looks when it's actually like done. Why you sew it at inch seam allowance and then trim it down, I will never be quite sure, but that's what all the sewing patterns suggest, so that's what we're going to do. All right, turn it out. This is the flat for the bag. I think the next step is technically top stitching, but I don't really want to top stitch this in white. I do have a clear thread, which I think might work the best, but I'll do that when I've got a few more pieces finished up and ready to be top stitched, just so I don't have to like switch the thread back and forth constantly. The other problem with that being that I don't have a bobbin of clear thread, so I don't know. I'll figure it out in a minute. If it needs to be top stitched, it might not need to be top stitched. I'm just taking bamboo turner in because of the stabilizer and the flap. It's really stiff, and the bamboo turner just does more of the work that my hands can't do because my hands are too big to get into some of these corners like that, and it just gives it a nice crisp edge. There we go. Oh yeah, that's going to need a press and a top stitch. So I think what we'll do tonight is we'll get like as much of the process done as we can until I need to start pressing stuff. Then maybe we'll move on to cutting some grime guards. I know that makes me sound lazy, but it's just like the mental capacity to change thread and wind bobbin some nights. Although I guess actually what I should do, I wonder if I've got an empty bobbin. I don't right now. Okay. The next time I empty the white bobbin, I will pull it and I will actually wind it with clear thread. And then that step at least is done, because then this can be stitched with clear thread. Monofilament. Sweet. All right, so that looks really good. Obviously, it'll look better once it's been pressed and top stitched. The back of it looks really good as well. There. That's better. Okay. Yeah. There's just like a little bit of a pop, which tells me that the stabilizer just like went really nice just a moment ago. Okay. Let's set that back, and then yeah, so the next thing is top stitching. We're not top stitching. We are going to do the side panels next. So for this bag, we're going to be doing these side panels. So the gray is going to be to the exterior because this is what the actual obi that leaf pattern was cut out of, and then this is going to be the interior to match the main panels. So we're going to sew. There's little darts in the bottom to help shape the curve of this bag on the the sides. So I'm just going to go through and we're going to sew the darts now. Okay. I'm just making sure I didn't misunderstand that. And we're going to sew it bottom to top just because that makes my brain hurt less. I don't know how you would do the seam allowance otherwise. There we go. There's one. Could I chain piece it? Yes. Are we going to? No. Let's see. So that's a nice curve. This one will actually go in the bag. It says to press it to one side. I'm just going to finger press it. So because that should be, yeah, that'll be good enough. 1 dart. Two darts to sew. If you're curious what I'm sewing on, it's a Juki DDL 8100E. I purchased it from Mason Sewing Machine in Vancouver, British Columbia. If you're in the BC or Alberta area, I highly recommend them. I actually went in and test sewed on their machines there, in part because I was at Knit City. And when I contacted companies in Alberta, the one that I contacted up in Edmonton said to my face, it's basically like, oh, we don't want to take your money. You should be able to find a dealer closer to you. I'm like, well, joke's on you, because I emailed the dealer closer to me that was recommended to me by the Olds College, because Olds College actually has a fashion program, and never heard back from them. So they didn't want to take my money either. So the only people that actually responded with any amount of courtesy were Mason Sewing Machine. And since I was out there for Knit City anyway, I went and tested machines there, and they sent my machine to me. Did I have to pay freight? Yes. Did I have to pay PST? No, because I live in Alberta. So, but they've treated me really well since then. And if I need to get another machine or like something else at some other time, I will be going to them. I did buy my steam press off Facebook Marketplace secondhand. Why I mention this is because Mason does have steam presses, and so if and when I need to replace that steam press, I will go to them for the steam press as well. I didn't want to spend big money on it yet, because I wanted to make sure that it would actually work for what I needed it to do. Very pretty little darts, and it works. So it's like, okay, when it no longer works, then I will get a new steam press from Mason, because that makes sense. All right. Now we sew these into the main panel. So that nice little dart gets sewn, or gets matched up to the center seam in the main panel. That is a tacking thread. All right, so this is our main panel. This is actually going to be a fairly simple bag besides the flap, which is kind of nice. I am a flashy person, but I get that not everyone is, and so this is just going to be nice. Now, one of the tricks that I do is I nest my seams like quilters do. So one seam allowance generally runs one way, and one seam allowance runs the other direction. And that's how I try to get my seams to like be really nice and crisp and matchy. This might need to be pinned. Okay, so what is the recommendation? Pinning. This is an older pattern though, so let's see. Because of the stabilizer, this might be a disaster. Oh, it's gonna be fun to sew. Forgot about that. This one. Okay, let's see if I can get this physically manipulated into where it needs to go. It looks like I might win this round. So now I'm gonna shove it in there. There we go. Haha! It lined up. Good. It looks like it's fairly lined up at the bottom. And now there's a lot of like gapping and grossness around here, but that'll ease up as I actually sew around it. So I'm just gonna go straight in for it and see what I can do. I just realized though that I might want to sew it from the outside. Ooh, gross. Okay, nope, I'm not going to sew it from the outside. I was thinking I'd sew it from the outside because you can see the stabilizer on the outside, and then that will obviously catch the interior as well, because now you've pinned this exterior piece. Blah blah blah. But I don't, just with the way it's curved. Yeah, no. So one of the things I've been looking at for the next equipment upgrade would actually be a cylinder sewing machine. And the benefit to a cylinder sewing machine is this: curves. Mine is a flatbed machine, which means that there are no A cylinder sewing machine, you're basically sewing around a sewing. Well, it's in the name. It's a cylinder sewing machine. So the foot of the sewing machine sits on a cylinder, and then you sew. But the nice thing about that is then you can sew in the round, so it would just go around this nicely. They are, however, prohibitively expensive. So, or at least not what I want to be spending my money on in my business right now. So maybe not prohibitive, but definitely lower priority, especially since this one does work. It's just painful for some of these projects. All right, slow and steady. We'll get it done. I forgot about how squishy this gets. All right. Oh yeah, you can actually see that fairly decently. Let's see. You can't see my actual sewing foot. Maybe I'll put you actually right behind it for the next one. I'm gonna try and gotta manipulate this so I gotta keep the dart lined up with the center seam. The problem is that this is all curves. All right, let's just unfold this. Whatever. Do I recommend this? No, don't do this. Follow the instructions. But hey, that dart seam's still lining up. Okay, and my seam allowance is still lining up as well. Sweet. We're doing it. There we go. All right. Now we are going to kind of just, I'm going to pin this or clip this back up here. No, that crunched it. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing because it's working so far. Sorry, I need to close the window because there's a bunch of little bugs getting in apparently through the screen. Okay, come on. You know you can do it. This may not work. Okay, I'm just gonna stop it there and see if that is working. Oh, actually, it is working surprisingly well. All right, so I think actually, yeah, I think people that I've seen tips on the Facebook group for this bag of like sew from one top to the dart, and then sew from the other top to the dart. So I'm gonna tack it down on the bottom here again. Do a little bit of a back stitch there, so I can leave it. Pull the needle up. Go. Now we're going to start from the top on the other side and work down as well. The problem with this fabric being such a light color is that if I have any little like flubs in my fabric, you are going to see it. Okay, so looks like I can continue to ease this corner in right now. There we go. And then I think we're good. Okay. There we go. Sorry, this requires some concentration apparently. By Jove, I think we've done it. My stitch allowance is not the correct, or seam allowance is not the correct seam allowance, but I can fix that. Haha. All right. Whew. Yeah, look at that. It worked. And that was actually less painful than trying to get it's sewn with the clips. Anyway, I'm going to run it through again so that I get the proper seam allowance. But now that it's together, I wonder if double-sided tape would work better. No, because you would run into the same problem, I think. Okay, there we go. Because again, 2 stitch lines in a purse is not a bad thing. It will add some strength to the structure of the bag. And the main thing of why I want the seam allowance to match is that the stabilizer is at the seam allowance. So what you're trying to achieve is a seam allowance that is tight against the actual stabilizer, which is what's giving this bag its body. And otherwise it's going to be floppy. And we don't want floppy with this one. It is a structured bag. There we go. I think I got it this time. Yes. Could it still be a bit tighter to the stabilizer? Yes. Will it work? I think so. I think actually that does work quite well. It does give it a little bit of it gives it the stability that you need from that. But then it's going to be riveted, on the side there. So it's going to be folded in. We're good. But so far, so good. Oh, there is a crease there. So let's seam rip that a little bit. Get the crease out. Where did I notice the crease? Where did the crease go? Right there. I see. I don't see. It's interior. It's on the actual here. Oh, I see it. Okay. So we'll just clip the stitches right there, and then I'll go back over it again to make it secure and not have a crease in it. Like I said, this fabric is so light that you're going to end up actually having being able to see any flaw in it. There. Okay, fixed. Just stitch over top of that. Back stitch. Forward. And I'll blend it in with more stitches at the side. And we're good. No, we're not. Curses. Okay. Okay. So I think what we'll do then in this case. Oh, I see what's happening. I think I need to change the stabilizer out for this bag. There's been some new stuff that I've found that would probably work better for this. But yeah, no, that's fixed. Okay. Just can't tell very easily. All right, so in this case, I think we're going to start from the dart up. Let's try that. It might be easier. It might not be. Who knows? Oh, curves. Okay. Curves are one of the hardest things to do in sewing. And for certain things, it's super easy. So the knot bag, easy. For this, not so much, at least tonight. Tomorrow I might come back to the machine and everything just goes super easy. It's not like I'm prototyping this bag. I've sewn this bag before. It's just I'm out of practice. And this, for some reason, this one tonight is very stiff. So, okay, that did actually go very smoothly. I think that is actually the way to go, is dart out. So I wonder if I could actually do it. Well, no, we'll go down to the dart for this one. Although that doesn't make sense. So let's turn it this way and we'll try shoving. Nope, that's not going to work. So what's happening is some of the creases are coming from the fact that you're shoving all that fabric down into the curve instead of being able to kind of curve it out. And since it's fabric does like to stretch, obviously. It's partly why we have the fusible interfacing on it. I used to make these with non-fusible interfacing, which I'm looking at now Katie, why weren't you using fusible interfacing? You lunatic. Because it's it would slip and slide everywhere. And it's just, it was such a mess. That's not going to work, is it? No, that's not going to work. Okay, so with this one, we'll sew up from the base on one and then also down from the other, I guess. This is not what I want to do. what has been called for. Okay. Slow and steady. Go. And then the fun bit of this is that we have to repeat it on the lining as well. I guess there's a good reason that I never recorded myself sewing in the past. So, because it's like if I have to fix stuff, I don't necessarily want to have to do it on camera. Although if I did it as pre-recorded, I wouldn't have to worry about it either. I could edit it out. Oh dear. Okay, let's get this done. There we go. Okay, one of my big worry is I don't want any creases in the actual, like, I'm going to go back up the other side as well, sorry, because then I can catch the seam allowance a little bit better because it was a little bit shallow on the other side, or on the first pass. Now, granted, that's probably how I'm going to end up with more creases, but there, I think I figured it out. Fabric can be manipulated. And that's what needs to be done. There we go. There we go. Now it's happier. Success. Okay. I think probably. Okay. Yeah, that looks good in there. Let's turn it out, make sure I'm happy with it, because now is the time to fix it if I'm not. Also just realized I need the thing, I need the label for installation on the outside as well. We didn't catch part of the exterior there. It skipped. It looks so good too otherwise, but we skipped part of the seam. So there's like a hole right here. So we got to go back in. This is why it's good to check it right now. But otherwise, like, look at that curve. It looks so good. This other side looks really good too, as I was figuring stuff out. And then it's going to be riveted together with the divider, and like it just such a good purse. If it didn't have so many curves. Okay, let's get that fixed. Okay, so actually let's throw a clip in there so I know where I need to like stitch, so I don't have to stitch the whole thing again. Just the section that's like I'm not going to sew together. Okay. I've got it clipped with my fingers. Oh, I see. I see what you did there. You just did a slippy slip. Okay. All right. Turn it back. Ugh. Birthing bags usually doesn't bother me, but sometimes there's just like such a horrendous feeling because it's stiff. Ugh. It's like bad touch vibes. Okay. Spread it out. Stick it under. Do the stitching. All right. I'll blend it in with the stitching up top. And then it should be fixed. Hopefully. I'm not going to turn it back out because, yes, it was not a pleasant experience doing that the first time. But now it is all sealed up on that side. All good. I'm pretty sure this is a drop lining bag anyway, so we wanted that direction. All right, now we got the interior. Okay. Oh, repeat to attach. And then trim all seam allowances. Okay. I can do that, I think. I know I can trim the seam allowances. Just whether there's seam allowances to trim, I guess. Because technically there should be. Tomorrow's childcare day again, which means I'll probably be back on live to do whatever I'm doing. I don't know. It depends on how tonight goes. It's already midnight, so can't be up too much longer just because I've already thrown my sleep schedule out of whack enough. But you know, we'll deal. Okay, so that apparently did work with the whole just, I don't get it. Pins and clips and all of that should help, but it's like sometimes just hand manipulation works the best. I don't know. If you're a sewist and you're in the chat right now, do you use pins and clips a lot? Or do you find that like hand manipulation works just as well or better in a lot of cases? Why is this side panel short? Oh no, there we go. It just figured itself out. There we go. Now obviously this, I do need more practice with this, and I will get it as I make more of these bags just to like get the seam allowances correct. And not have to do 3 seams, but I don't know. I don't, it's the same thing with zippers. I used to pin every single zipper I would install in like the project bags. And now I just hand do them because it's like, it's just as accurate for me personally, or better. They tend to slip just as much. That was what it was. The time and effort that I put into pinning them, it took, like, they slipped and looked terrible just as much as now when I don't pin them and I just hand do them, like hand hold everything as I'm sewing them in. So I'm like, I may as well save myself the time and blood and sweat and tears of not pinning the zippers into the bags if they're just going to look the same if I just do it by hand anyway. So I don't know. That is my personal experience with it. Obviously, mileage will definitely vary. Okay. That caught the edge all the way around. Good, good, good. Yeah, we're good. One side panel installed. Now the second side panel. Nest the seams. So this is what I mean by nesting the seams. So this seam is running this way. Technically, I should open it up, but I've heard that it's not as strong if you open it up. So I'm going to lay it to one side, which is another way of doing this. And then the dart lays to another side, and then they've got like little butts, joints, and you abut the joints. So the joints go together, and you can see. So if I'm going away from that butt, I can slip slide everywhere, but I can kind of, it catches. So it's how I try and keep my points. It was a technique I stole from quilting, just like chain piecing, because it was a suggestion for making sure that points were like pointy. And it's worked really well for like lining up my seams and making them look nice and clean, because that was one of my struggles when I was first sewing bags, especially, is like, how do you make all of your seams line up? Especially as a beginner sewist, you're like, canvas is one direction and your fabric's the other direction, and nothing lines up. And so that was just a good way to learn how to actually do it. And it stuck with me for, well, 11 years of sewing now. I got my first sewing machine in 2012. So, all right. That is a shallow seam allowance. So we'll go back in and redo that in a moment. But we'll go in and get this side done like that. Try and get the seam allowance correct this time. There's no reason for it not to be correct, but oh, there we go. Okay, I see what I need to do. So it's just a little bit more manipulation of the fabric and the bag, and just like actually working with the 3D nature of the fabric a little bit better, probably. Someone definitely, I gotta double check to make sure that that actually caught everything. Yep, we're good. Good. So there is the interior to the actual clutch. Now I think I need a zipper, and then I'll do the actual little zipper divider. Oh, that feels, that interfacing on this kimono makes it feel really good. Really good. Sweet. All right. Okay. So that is the interior to the bag. So that will slot into, oh right, we're supposed to trim down the seam allowances. But that'll slot into the exterior that I just sewed. So these ones, as the seam allowance is quite shallow. Okay, we'll trim down the excess fabric. I think maybe I should, yeah, this one needs to be gone over again, just because it didn't catch all as much of the actual main panel as I would prefer. Go, that'll be better. I feel that that will be better. It's like an extra 1/4 inch in that curve. Yeah, there we go. Let's double check this side and make sure that I caught everything I need to and as much as I want to. Yeah, that's more fabric than it was on the other side. So I'm going to trim down just a bit. Now, the interior does need to be trimmed down to make it less baggy. That's what I've heard. Because basically, you're trying to, like, these pieces are cut to the same size, and you're trying to shove 2 same size pieces together. And so you're trying to reduce the bulk in the bag as much as possible. The way to solve this, I should have probably done a 3/8, like an 1/8 of an inch larger seam allowance. But I did not on this one at least. Maybe on the next one. Now you may ask why I am doing these so separately, and it's mostly just because it's like these steps are so involved that I'm out of practice. I don't have enough practice to actually be production batching the interior lines to these purses. So, and given that's handmade, I don't want to have to production batch everything. These are a higher end product that I want to make sure that like I am making up to a higher end product status, I guess. To the best of my ability, at least. I say as I don't even get the seam allowance correct sometimes. But it'll work. As long as it all fits together at the end. It's really super cute. Oh my goodness. That turned out really well for where the pattern placement happened. And then it's also going to it'll wrap around the zipper divider as well. Okay, trim down the exterior seam allowance as well. Clip. I bet you that was talking about the flap seam allowance, which I've already trimmed it down because it was very generous apparently. Yeah. Okay. Don't clip the sew seam. That would not be good. The problem with cutting down seam allowance. Accidentally clipping the seam, especially on this white on white situation we have going on with the interfacing. All right, there we go. Done. So that will drop in here later on. What's the next step? I'm pretty sure I got it zippers. Oh, it doesn't care. It actually wants me to just assemble the bag and then sew the zipper divider. Okay, we can do that. That means we're almost done this bag. Sweet. I knew it was a fast bag, but oh, we got a top stitch. And this does need a press. Okay, so maybe we'll do the assembly on the zipper pouch. Yeah, we'll do the assembly on the zipper pouch. Put it all together, and then tomorrow I will press and all of that. Just so we don't have to move out of the room and back. I think this needs a white zipper. I'm going to take the fabric with me and just go to my zipper drawer quick and grab a zipper that matches both this one and this one, even though I got to remake the freaking ring tabs for this one. But if we're not putting it together till tomorrow, it doesn't matter anyway. White zippers. Hey, a full white zipper. And then we'll do all right, so I've got an actual white zipper for this one, which works because it is very white. sometimes white doesn't actually work against white. It's nuts. And then, oh, are these long enough? They might not be long enough. And I don't have zipper tape for this. No, that's the right length. What? Weird. So the 9-inch zipper, and that's a 9-inch zipper. Okay, well, I'm gonna go grab longer zippers apparently. That's a 10-inch zipper. Does it work? No. Kind of. The zipper stops and no, that doesn't work at all. Am I trying to put it on the wrong side, on the wrong end? So the pattern piece is actually angled a little bit. I wonder. So the 9-inch definitely doesn't work, and that means I've got a 9-inch from the excess to the excess. This is 10-inch excess to excess, but it still doesn't work because then you end up with the zipper tab, the zipper stop over here, which takes quite a bit of the pouch, and then the zipper stop over here, which would look ugly. So longer zippers it is, apparently. All right. Let's see what I have. Ivory and ivory. Oh, there's a black zipper. Oh. All right, we've got ivory zippers this time. So that's what I have on hand. It actually works better with the red, and it works fine with the red and white as well. And it'll actually make it easier to see the zipper in the bag with the fans. I think this is one of the easiest parts because you basically just sew. Okay, my kiddo has actually woken up. It was 12:30, so that makes sense. So if you enjoyed this stream, please like, subscribe, and share. And I will be back tomorrow afternoon, probably at some point, to finish more of this work off. Hope you guys all have a fantastic night, and I'll chat with you later.